back from being wined and dined by a district court judge, but what are you up
Heck,
to?
oh my goodness gracious. Sounds like a good time. Where'd you go?
This little place called the Dubliner in DC, nice little
Okay.
restaurant. But I've got a good intro into today's podcast. So,
What's up?
little known fact: Supreme Court Justice Byron White, Supreme Court Justice from like the '60s to the '90s, was also an NFL football player and was good enough to make the All-Decade team in the 1940s.
Holy
So
shit.
if you ever thought you were a total package, this dude was Supreme Court justice level smart and also all decade NFL. Some
That's
people do, they
insane.
just got it better than everybody else.
Yeah, I was about to say, holy cow, that's insane.
That would suck. Like, what do you do if that guy comes up on your girl? You're
And you're
like,
just
man,
like
he's faster than me, he's stronger than me, he's smarter than me.
harder than me. You got more credentials than I do by a million.
Dude, that would suck.
That
One
would
person, one person who didn't have it made this week was Cam Newton. Dude, what do you think
oh,
about that fight?
that was crazy. What even started it? Like what was did they ever come out with anything about what actually happened? Has he even commented on that?
So yeah, I did not know. For those of you listening, Cam Newton hosts a 7-on-7 event once a year,
In
right?
Atlanta.
Yeah, in Atlanta. I didn't realize Cam Newton's from Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
so he does this thing to like give back to the community and everything, which is great. We actually know somebody from our high school that went to one of those, Damon, back in the day. So it's a cool thing Cam Newton does, but apparently he had these two brothers that used to work with him. Their last name is Brown. I forget their first names. And they had a bit of a falling out. And these two guys went and made their own 7-on-7 league. And for some reason, they thought it, from what I understand, they thought it would be a good idea to have a 7-on-7 that these guys got and play against seven of Cam's guys. Why they thought that would be a good idea, I have no clue, since they didn't like each other enough to where they broke off into different
About to
camps.
say, yeah, that makes no
But
sense.
so last year, it was a little thing that was a news story for a week, but there was a issue where somebody at Cam's camp called him trash last year, and it was kind of a carryover from that.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Cam was trying to like bet on the 7-on-7 games,
That's
and
awesome.
he
Shout out
was
to him.
running up on these guys. He's like, "Come on, man! Like, throw money on it, throw money on it. You know I'm good for it." And they didn't like the fact that he was flaunting his money, I guess. And so they started jawing back, like, "Hey, man, like you trash. Like, who cares how much money you got? You can't play." And then they ended up 7-on-1 going in on him, and
I was about
dude,
to say it was like 7-on-1 whenever you see the video, people just coming in out of nowhere throwing haymakers.
yeah, and didn't even really land a good shot on him. Like that
Mm-mm.
shows you how good Cam Newton was back in the day at ducking the defense.
Dude, the memes that have came out about that, it's like the video of when it starts on the ground and then it goes up and it's Shaq and Kobe standing next to each other in the finals. It's like
Yeah.
Cam Newton in his hat during that fight, and it was just
Oh yeah, dude. Can you imagine us going 5-on-1 on some guy, not even managing to knock his hat off? Like
dude,
that's how you know you got shown up big time.
at that point, we would just walk away and be like, "Let's never talk about this again, please,
It's like,
please."
hey man, look, I know I said you was trash, but you got something going with you. I
Mm-hmm.
respect it. Just
Hey,
don't
you can
touch
dodge.
me ever again.
Cam Newton wakes up and says, "If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball."
Yeah. Dude, the fact that RG3, he was like, man, Cam Newton led Auburn to a 10-0 season, and these guys thought that they could do something to him.
Yeah,
What
straight
kind of
up.
what kind of stuff are they teaching these kids these days?
At first when I initially saw the video and stuff. I didn't realize it was like all that. I thought it was like a bunch of kids coming up and trying to beat up on him or something. I
Yeah.
was like, bro, what are they feeding these like middle
That's
school?
like that's like one of that meme where it's like I am the captain now. It's
Yeah,
like all the kids like I am the coach
yeah,
now.
yeah. You don't call plays anymore, Cam. You're done. Cut.
Dude,
That's
could you
funny.
imagine if that would have happened when Damon was at his camp
And
and
he's
we
just
could have
sitting
been
there
like,
like,
dude, like front row seat to it.
holy cow. Yeah, that's crazy.
But no, so that's what's going on with Cam Newton. That's probably the most relevant Cam Newton's been
In a
since.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Since that
it's
Super Bowl.
crazy. He's only 34, and the
Yeah, he
fact
should
that
be
he's
playing.
already out of the league
Yeah, I
is.
think he should be playing. In my opinion, there's a team that could use him. There are a couple teams that could use him.
Mm. Do you think he's kind of held back by how good he was? Like
Yeah.
the fact
Compared to what
that.
he used to be, or compared now to then, yeah, he's fell
Mhm,
like that's a hard fall off to come back from. You go to an MVP winning season to making it to the Super Bowl to almost winning it, and then
mhm.
well, they didn't almost win it that year. They got blown out.
Yeah, they got the crap beat out of them, but by a crappy Peyton Manning. The defense, that Broncos defense, I was
Oh,
glad to see No Sean Marino got him a
yeah.
ring,
Shout out no.
but dude, that defense took them to the
You
Super
think about
Bowl.
it, like all the OG Georgia dogs went to the NFL, and basically all of them have a ring. Stafford, no Sean, besides AJ Green, I guess.
Yeah, or maybe he'll get him one. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
think he's in the
he's
league
out. He's
anymore,
retired.
but
He's officially. I think he retired last year, something like
dang.
that. But I mean, most of them have a ring, which is pretty
Now,
good.
okay, given how good Georgia football has been the last 2, 3, honestly 5 years, do you think Matthew Stafford is still the best Georgia quarterback in our lifetime?
Probably. Well, Aaron Murray was insane. Granted, he didn't win us big games. He was good. Like he could throw the heck out of the ball. I mean, he
How
leads
do
the SEC in passing yards.
How do you think those Kirby teams would stack up against the like prime Mark Richt era, like
Oh,
No
they
Sean
would
Matthew
destroy them.
Stafford?
They would destroy them. Like seriously, I really think they would. They would probably. No, I gotta take that back. That's a very excessive way to put it. But they would definitely beat them for sure. Beat them.
Do you think the coaching was the difference, or do you think the teams are just more well rounded?
Both. Well, it has a lot to do with both because back then, like it was really hard to recruit because you couldn't get in trouble. You couldn't cross any lines without having to keep somebody's mouth shut somewhere. And most of the time, that stuff will come out. So
Mm-hmm.
now you can basically, hey, I'll give you $2 million. Come play here, and it's like what?
Yeah, that's what Nick Saban was sounding off on this week. I don't know if you saw he was in the news for that, but he was pretty much complaining about how college football has changed for the worst and that
Yeah, that's why he got out.
gambling.
That's I
Yeah.
was said nothing to get go. The only reason he's even leaving and stuff is because of NIL. That stuff makes it so ridiculous and hard for a coach to even get like 5-star recruits anymore. Because they'll just go to a different team. Like for example, your what is the Caleb Downs? Is that his name? Who from
Yeah.
Alabama transfers to where did he go? Ohio State because they paid him.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
really hard to keep 5 stars unless you have millions of dollars. And if you want 10 5 stars at $1 million a head, you do the math to that.
Hey, glad my tuition's going somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Bama says tuition to the football team this year. NIL.
No, dude, seriously, the football player dorms, they have like their own living hall on campus and they eat steak, lobster, like they treat them nice. Meanwhile,
That's
we're
in
over there in the regular dining hall eating like beans and
yeah, smash
microwave.
burgers. Is
Yeah,
that a
dude,
smash? No, it's sloppy Joe.
man, it's like, come on, y'all couldn't give us some of the spare lobster?
I mean, just that. I'd take a little lobster bite, just a
Yeah,
bite
dude,
of it.
just a little claw.
Yeah, I'll break the crab myself. I don't care. I just need the meat out of it.
Honestly, I don't even gotta eat. I'll just sit down and talk to you guys.
Just watch. I'll just watch. Is it weird for me to sit in the corner and just watch?
And I didn't realize Nick Saban's going to be on College Game Day
Mm-hmm.
until so
He signed with
that'll be
ESPN.
fun seeing
Him.
him up with Pat
I
McAfee and all those guys.
was about to say a good reason that most of these people that are like retiring and all that big time names that are like getting out of their leagues and all that their coaching statuses. Most
Mm-hmm.
of them like Pat McAfee could get a lot of them to ESPN if he's not careful. Like ESPN will be filled with nothing but like goats, if you know what. Like
Yeah,
he's got that trade in him to where he just draws in everybody.
except for Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers killed any chance he had at getting a ESPN job after he retired with all the trash he was talking about Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, dude, that was bad. And then he started going on about Travis Kelce and all that stuff. That was funny.
Yeah. Now, I know it's been a couple weeks, but you didn't get to catch the Super Bowl stream. So, how did you feel about the Super Bowl? What were your thoughts?
I have wanted the 49ers to win. We know that, but my score wasn't anywhere near what I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's always wrong. Always. I got the Gatorade right, and I won on the national anthem. So I mean, can't be mad about that.
There
But
you go.
by overall gameplay, you just can't put Mahomes out, man. You can't count
Mhm.
him out.
Now,
It's
how do you feel about people already comparing him to Brady?
uh,
Like, do you think it's
it's.
too
I mean,
early?
it's not too early because in the amount of games Brady had played compared to Mahomes has played, Mahomes has already outdone him almost. Like
Mm-hmm.
basically, he's basically outdone him. Like Brady won a lot of his, I guess, like his main Super Bowls later on. So I mean, Mahomes still he's just what in his sixth year or eighth, something like that. He's less than he's like 6 years
Yeah,
in, and he's already a what 3-time, 4-time,
3 time.
3-time, yeah. So I mean, half the years he's played, he's a Super Bowl champ, and I know he's won the MVP at least once.
Mm-hmm. I would definitively say him winning this Super Bowl puts him third all time for me. I got it. He passed Peyton Manning with this one. I
Yeah,
mean, he's still one behind Joe Montana, and
yeah,
after that, then I'll be ready for the Brady talk.
right. I mean, he's got to win at least two more for him to even be considered up in Brady's talk, in my opinion. At least two more, and then you can start talking like that.
I mean, it's crazy how much he's managed to do in such a short time. I would definitely say he's had the best 5 year stretch of
Oh,
any
yeah,
quarterback from a
yeah,
talent and winning perspective.
yeah.
Because
I
like when
mean, he came
Brady,
in.
yeah, in the early Patriots runs when they went back to back, like Brady was not being carried by the defense, but that was a defense heavy team, and Brady was more of a game manager. He didn't come into his own as an individual until Randy Moss showed up.
Exactly, and then he start throwing the ball down the field and getting his numbers up.
Yeah. He's like, dude, imagine being 10 years in and all of a sudden it's like, wait, I can be an MVP?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's like, well, hang on, come here, Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Then
And
you have
somehow
guys,
they never won a ring together.
but then like guys like people don't understand Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola. Like those guys were like
Mm-hmm.
they
Malcolm
carried Brady.
Butler.
They carried Brady a long way. Without those guys, they wouldn't. Like think about Julian Edelman. If he never had that catch in the Super Bowl, the Falcons win.
Oh, yeah.
Falcons win that Super Bowl all day, but Julian Edelman is the only reason. Like in my opinion, that's the only reason they won. Without that catch and that momentum shifter, you're not winning that game.
Now, when it comes to Edelman, do you think he should be in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know his stats. That's my only
Well,
thing. I
okay.
don't know.
I guess what I'm really asking is there a lot of players in the Hall of Fame that had really good regular season stats, but were basically never in the postseason? Somebody like a Tracy
Yeah,
McGrady
yeah.
or like a Barry Sanders. Do
He
you
was
think
vice
the
versa.
opposite should be allowed in? Somebody who wasn't great in the postseason, but somehow made it to the playoffs and like always showed up in the big games, like a Robert Horry or like a Julian Edelman.
Yeah, I think they deserve to be in there because like they're winning championships, and I think postseason those yards and those catches and all that mean a lot more than the regular season. Granted,
Mm-hmm.
the regular season gets you there, but the postseason is when you got to clutch up, you got to ball it, you got to show
Mm-hmm.
out. And when they're doing it only then, I mean, it says a lot about them to wait 18 games or 18 weeks out of the year just to turn up for three of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they deserve to be in, but it should take them a little bit longer to be put on a ballot than people who, openly deserve it.
Yeah, I mean somebody who's won like an MVP or two, but
Yeah,
sucked
right,
in the
right,
playoffs. Like, yeah, they
right.
definitely got first ups. And this is why I love this podcast. We can be like almost 20 minutes in and just be completely flying off the dome and not touch on anything we had been
Yeah,
out
I
of
know. The preview, our preview is Shohei. It's like
Yeah,
not
go
even
ahead,
the middle of the
MLB
season.
preseason
Cam
preview.
Newton was in a fight in Atlanta.
Yeah, dude, somebody's tuning in like, what the heck? I was here for Shohei.
I was here
So
talking
what
about baseball.
what
No,
do you
we're talking
what do you
about.
think about Shohei and the MLB season coming up?
It's gonna be crazy. Like it's actually gonna be fun to watch baseball again. I
Yeah.
think Dodgers are gonna be on so many primetime ESPN games this year. And that new pitcher they have, Yamamoto or something like that. I'll have to get his name right before the season starts and all that, obviously. But dude,
Mm-hmm.
he was beaming 96 straight down the middle, and out of nowhere throws a splitter. And it, like, when I say everything was down the middle, like dead
Mm-hmm.
in the middle, and then this splitter, I mean the amount of break and just drop down this thing has, going from 96 to like 80 something, dude. I don't think anybody will be able to hit off him this year that well. He'll win Cy Young if he throws like that.
Now, what do you think it is recently that's seen players or pitchers in particular throwing so much faster than they used to just like 10 years ago?
I
Do you
don't
think
know.
it's a technique change or
I,
they're just developing the arm better?
it's gotta be the technique and like their workout and the way they're doing things and doing their body and like all that kind of stuff. It's got to play into it because it's insane how fast and how consistent some of these guys are. Like it's mind boggling and the amount of spin and the amount of movement that they're putting on some of these balls. No way in heck you could make me like stand up there and even attempt to swing at that. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, I remember sitting watching somebody like Billy Wagner, who back in the day, like, he was fast coming out of the Braves bullpen, and he'd probably throw like
Yeah.
93, 94, and if he was really letting it fly, he'd hit like 97, and everybody like, oh, and you go
Oh.
like Turner Field, and usually if they throw a fastball that's really good, they'll put the number of the
Mm-hmm.
speed up in like orange, but if you hit like 95 plus, it's in red. And
Yeah.
it's like now every pitch is basically just like the red.
98, 98 and above. It's like, oh wow, that's slow. It's like, no, dude, he's chumming 98 consistently down the middle. Like that is not slow.
Yeah. Some of it might have to do too with they do a lot better or worse, depending on if you're an old head, about rotating the pitchers out. Like, you pitch 3 innings and somebody else pitches
Mhm.
three. And I think knowing that they're not going to have to go the distance, it lets them go all in
Yeah.
on the pitches they do have and put a little more juice on it.
Well, now you have there's an inning count of how many innings you can throw during a week or like during till your next start or like in between starts. There's only so many pitches you can throw to be eligible to start again, and like that's the only reason Spencer Strider doesn't have 300 strikeouts a season. It's because of pitch count. He can't go too high, or he can't get to that
Mm-hmm.
certain point to where he won't be able to play again until 2 weeks, or he can't be able to play again for X amount of days. I think that's ridiculous,
Yeah,
but
I mean, I think that's a policy that if teams want, they should be able to implement, but
exactly, I
that
think
should
it's
be a rule.
yeah, it shouldn't be implemented in the rule book. No, it should be it's like a state and federal thing. Like if the state wants to implicate it, let them do it. Like apply the rule. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. It's completely fine if you don't.
Yeah, because I mean, what happened like back in the day? I guess you just have to plan your whole schedule or the whole season
Mhm.
around when you want this pitcher to pitch certain games. But
Right.
like, I don't know, say somebody is pitching up against like the Braves, at least to our generation's big rivals of the Phillies. And it's like you pitch game one, but you just hate the Phillies so much and they were jawing off at you that you want to come back for game three or game four. Like,
Right.
I
Do it.
think they should let you do that. Like, like, we'll let Spencer have this one.
Maybe during the like regular season because you play 162 games, maybe that makes a little bit more sense. But at least postseason, at least do that during the postseason. Like let them
Yeah.
throw. If they're there and they've made it that far, let them go. Let them have at it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Back in, like, the Sandy Koufax era, he was pitching, like, every other game in the World Series.
Right.
It's like, hey, man, like, your arm's only kind of
Last
numb.
person who even did that was Chris Sale. He started, I want to say game 7 or 6, started the game, then came back in the ninth inning and closed it out. I
Dang.
don't know how he did that, but they let him do it for Boston when they won their last World Series.
It's some of the rules and stuff that they used to have. It's crazy just like how quickly they get away from it. But I do think MLB did a good job last year with the pitch count
Yeah,
and widening the bases.
right.
Because it just made the game more fun to watch. I always love a good steal.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Nothing like a good smooth hit and run that's like supposed to be like perfect and it just goes through. That's like I got it. It's funny. I got an Xbox this past weekend to just
Mm-hmm.
stay home. Like that's the only reason I got it, so I had to stay home more. I've been playing nothing but MLB The Show, like
Did you get
crazy.
the X?
Mm-mm.
Did you get the Xbox X, or did you go old school and get like
Oh,
a
I
Xbox
got the
One?
S, the little white one. Is what I
Ah,
got. Like it's a newer one, but it's not brand new type stuff. I only paid $100 for it. 2 controllers.
shoot, that's a pretty good deal.
Can't beat that. No, but so I bought the games and stuff, and I've been playing Madden. But yeah, baseball it's back. It's back.
Now, do you think the MLB will try to get away from the postseason number 1 and 2 seeds get to sit out for the first week?
Mm-mm.
Since you don't think so,
Mm-mm. No, they'll always let them have that.
it does. Well, based on the results from last postseason, I don't know if teams will want it.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true.
You might
It's
see teams like the Dodgers tanking for third.
yeah. I mean, it. I see where it hurts a team getting all that break, but at the same time, if you're not preparing, it's your own
Mm-hmm.
fault. You got to be ready. I mean, you have got to be ready. It's the playoffs. This is
I
when it
mean,
matters.
especially when you're 2 seasons into that being the playoff norm. So
Hmm.
it's not like you don't know it's coming. Like
Right.
it's all good coaching to be able to adjust.
Yeah. And it really bothers me how every time like a first round team gets put out or something, the fan base just always blames, oh well, we should have done this or we should have done that. Like in reality, knowing dang good and well your team should have just prepared better. It comes down to preparation. Like, come on, quit complaining. Y'all lost. Get on. That's how I felt as a Braves fan last year when we lost to the Phillies. I was just like, can't complain, can't be mad. You just got to move on. It is what it is.
Just gotta play better. Hopefully that'll keep them up at night in the off season to come back with a vengeance.
They made so many moves this year, though, dude. It's crazy. Like I think the Braves will be just fine this season.
I hope so. I mean, we've been kind of in the middle of a Braves resurgence, not quite to the level of them in the '90s, but to where they've been in the World Series conversation at least every season for the last couple years. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
that's 3 years now. But I mean, we've won the East what 6 years in a row.
something like that.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years in a row now. So I mean, it's if they make it to the World Series one more time and can win it, I think that you could almost put this like I guess the Ronald Acuna era Braves. You could put them. You could put them up there with them '90s boys.
Well, that should be scary for the rest of the MLB. The
That's
fact
what
that
I'm
you can
saying.
already call this to like Acuna era Braves, and he ain't
Yeah.
even like 27 yet.
No, he's not. We got so lucky with him and Ozzy Albies. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like Alex Anthopoulos, whenever he was first trying to get like Austin Riley, Ozzy, Acuna, when he was getting all them in our farm league system, it was the craziest thing ever. Like when we had Endurance Ciarte as our center fielder and stuff, that time, like what 2016, 2017 era, we were good, but it wasn't like, wow, we need that superstar. And we got Ronald, and bro, everything has turned up since then.
I mean, yeah, especially too like post Freddie. It's
Oh
always
yeah,
good to have another young up and comer to build around. He might, depending on how this season goes, he might
we don't want
might
to.
get,
We need
might get him
Olsen.
more hardware.
Olsen's putting up another 50 piece this season. We'll see.
I feel like the Dodgers, in a way, are becoming the new age Yankees, where it's like every time there's a big free agent, it seems like they're the ones that are
We got so much
attractive.
money to spend. I mean, they have so much money out there to spend. It's ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, LA is a heck of a market, especially somebody like Shohei, who's already on the West Coast. So your whole sales pitch is just, hey man, move an hour south and play for
Right.
a better franchise with a
Exactly.
much better
At
general
that
manager.
point, you're basically a Dodger. Just move down like an hour, like you said. Just move, and then you'll be fine. But
Poor Mike
it's
Trout, though, just left out to dry to waste away the rest of his career in the Angels,
what did Shohei played 2 years or 1 year with the Angels?
too.
Two. That's what I thought. Yeah, those were and Trout was hurt most of last season. So like,
hmm
mm. if you were Mike Trout, would you leave?
Yeah.
You
I mean,
would.
don't get me wrong. I'm all for player loyalty and, like, staying true to the team that drafts you to an extent. But when you're late in your career and you're an all-time great player who pretty
I was
much
about to say
away
when
your
you're one
time,
of the greatest of all time and you still don't have a ring, Your numbers speak for itself.
Forget a ring. He's never even made a deep playoff run.
Mm-mm.
And I mean, baseball is one of those sports where one great player can't really make a difference like it can in basketball. So,
No.
like in the all-time great conversations, the ring argument doesn't really hold
Yeah.
up. Like, how do you even know how many rings like Babe Ruth has? Like, yeah, like it doesn't.
No.
All right, I'm gonna look it up real quick. But Ted Williams has 0, and he's right up there in the top 10. And nobody talks about how Ted Williams is a loser and this and that like they would
Ted
if he was.
Williams went on the craziest run in MLB history, though, dude.
Oh yeah,
Like,
do that. 400, batting 400, the last one to ever do it.
going to 2 different wars and then coming back, still hitting over 300 and winning 2 MVPs.
If it wasn't for World War II in Korea, Ted Williams probably would be like the greatest statistical player.
Dude, I guarantee he would have ended with a fucking 400 batting average, over 400.
So Babe Ruth was a 7-time World Series champ. And only a 1-time MVP, which is kind of crazy.
Holy cow.
I think they used to have some weird rule back in the day, though, where like if you won the MVP, that like you couldn't win back to back or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he's only got 1. But like, yeah, so 7 rings. Good on the Babe.
Right.
Like Hank
Early
Aaron,
season, like preseason predictions. Who do you see winning it all?
I'm gonna go with the Braves. I think I hope, and I'm gonna try to manifest it. I hope we get a Braves Dodgers NLCS, and I think the Braves will come out on top. Just because, at least in baseball, every time there's a team that's like crazy hyped up, like oh my gosh, these are like what is baseball gonna do? It never seems to pan out. Like I remember when Giancarlo Stanton went to the Yankees, and everybody was losing their mind, and we see how well that's gone for him.
Yeah,
so
that's been
I think it's like this. Plus, Shohei is hurt, so you don't or is formerly hurt. He's recovering. I don't know how impactful he'll be for the start of the season. That's if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, he struck out looking today at spring training. He didn't really swing the bat much.
Yeah, so there's a lot of X factors surrounding that Dodgers team that the hype the media is putting around it doesn't really talk about.
Yeah, no, I think it'll come down to the Dodgers and Braves, and then it'll be the Braves and Orioles. And I think one of those 2 teams, Braves or Orioles, winning it all this year. I don't know who, but Baltimore will get their ring. Will get their ring.
Hey, if they do, might have to come down here and watch the World Series.
That would be awesome. I've always wanted to go to Camden Yards, dude. That place is sick.
Mm-hmm. See, I thought the Orioles are one of those franchises that, for whatever reason, don't get a lot of talk. They kind of like fly under the radar, I guess, because they haven't ever been historically good, except for maybe like the 70s when they had Brooks Robinson.
Yeah, and Cal Ripken was like their main person, still is their main face of the franchise.
Yeah, and like, well, Frank Robinson too, but like Cal Ripken's claim to fame is that he just played every game.
I was
like, it's not like he was like a statistically dominant player. He was good, and he was good for a long time.
Yeah,
so that's about it.
He just played. So that was the thing about him. He just played so many games consistently. It was like you didn't even really do much in those games. So.
Yeah, I know. Like you think at some point, like in that streak, one of those pitchers would have been like, you know what? I'm just gonna beam this dude in the face. I'm making him sit out. I'm breaking the streak. Turns into like Brock Lesnar. I ended the streak.
Catches him and just dude, that would be crazy. Catch a fastball across the mouth to end your streak. Like 2 games of breaking the record, and you just like end it. It's like, oh, sorry, I don't want that record to get beat.
Yeah, dude, that's fine. I may be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure Lou Gehrig never missed a game. Like once he got benched, I don't know if he ever came back because he got benched because he had ALS.
Yeah.
So I think that might have just been a wrap for him. And have you heard the story about how his streak started, like how he got his first start? The first baseman for the Yankees just had a headache. And he was like, hey, coach, you care if I sit out today? And he's like, yeah, sure, like, no problem. We'll see you next week. And then Lou Gehrig subbed in for him and, like, just played his brain off. And the coach was like, yeah, about that, Wally.
You're done. You're done.
That's
That's awesome.
But speaking of wrestling, too, my Brock Lesnar reference, the Elimination Chamber is come and gone, and
Yes.
we know Drew McIntyre will be going to WrestleMania to face off against Seth Rollins, and Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes called out The Rock.
Did he?
Yeah,
You're gonna get to watch The Rock wrestle before we die.
I don't know because we're gonna get to see him for sure. We're going to night 2, and all the talk says that he's gonna be wrestling on night 1. So that dude, I would cry if
Yeah, one, two.
we might have to just work over the money for whatever night 1 is. Go get in the
Yeah,
building.
just eat the bullet and just buy tickets the day of. That would be
But
funny.
either way, dude, just being in the same building as The Rock, like that would just
That'd be
be
awesome.
insane.
That would be awesome.
I think right now we can safely say Shaq is the most famous person that we've
Yeah,
ever encountered.
for sure. Well, just that group of people alone was like, it'll be hard to beat that many like celebrity, like well-known people in a function like that again.
Yeah. I mean, for y'all listening, me and Levi once got to go behind the scenes on Inside the NBA,
That was
and we got
awesome.
to meet Shaq, Charles Barkley, Kyle Kuzma was visiting, got to see
Yeah,
him.
that's crazy. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Kenny Smith, Ernie Johnson, dude, that was cool. Kyle
Hmm.
Kuzma was way taller in person than you'd think on
That
TV.
makes you think like how tall he is in person. Imagine like Wembenyama actually in person.
Mhm. Yeah, dude.
That's
Did you see
bigger than
he
my house.
became the first rookie to ever get a 5x5?
Yeah, I saw that. He's
Dude,
crazy, dude.
he's
He almost
something
had a
else.
triple double with blocks, didn't he?
Probably.
I saw something about that the other day. He literally almost had a triple double with blocks.
Dude,
Or he
he's a
did have a triple double with blocks.
he is a cheat. Like, he's whenever I make a character in 2K, like I make Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
bit bulkier, but
Yeah, he's like this big around. It's crazy.
do you think he'll be able to have the longevity, or do you think the knees will get to him like they do every other big
Like to
player?
do every other player. Dude, he's just way too big and way too lanky to be running around and putting that much pressure on his kneecaps and his like where his knee meets and all that. No chance. He
Hmm.
can keep that up for 10, 15 years.
Well, I think the lankiness might actually help him out when it comes to the knees. It
Yeah.
still might not help much, but he won't
Right.
end up like Zion, who
Yeah, they
can't
have
play
so
more
much
than half a season without hurting his knee.
because you have so much weight on there. He's a big old boy.
Do you think Zion can ever kind of rejuvenate that spark that he had when he first started?
No, I don't think so. I think he lost it all. He's out here getting like OnlyFans models pregnant and all that kind of stuff. He's falling off the deep end.
Dude, did you see who OnlyFans made an offer to?
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, dude. What was it, like 40 mil?
For one picture.
Dude, that's crazy. I think, did you send me Shannon Sharp's reaction to that?
Hmm.
He was like,
That's the
no, 40
greatest.
mil? Like,
The 40 million. He said, "Let me go ahead and throw that thing out on the table for you, miss."
dude, that's crazy.
It's hilarious. He's by far one of my favorite like entertainment folks who make like podcasts and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Dude, Shannon Sharp, he's got more personality in his pinky finger than most people have in their entire body. And
Dude,
Skip
another
Bayless is probably kicking himself every night for running
oh
him off
god,
that
yeah.
first one.
Another good podcast that's out right now talking about like old NBA stuff is Jeff Teague Club 520 podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they are hilarious. Jeff Teague is by far probably my favorite basketball player of all time, just because of that
Yeah,
podcast.
I've seen he's been making the rounds a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
He was
Yeah.
on like Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp and everything too. And I was surprised. I was like, man, this is giving me like 2014 nostalgia seeing Jeff Teague back in the
Yeah.
headline.
Yeah. It's like
His
my
brother
story the
too
other day.
was good in college.
It was like my story the other day whenever I'd posted the Hawks with Bibby and Joe Johnson and all that. I was like, dude, I miss the old Hawks so bad. So bad.
Dude, it was pure nostalgia.
100%. Oh, August 8th. I don't know if you'll be in town or not, but we're gonna go to a Braves game for Liv's birthday.
All
Support
right.
that.
Bet.
She's never been to a game before, so we're gonna try to go before birthday, but we're definitely going on her birthday.
Yeah, bet. Dude, I haven't been to a Braves game in a minute.
Yeah, I went to a few of them last year. I have to though. Like, dude,
Well,
go
that's
to.
the thing, like, especially with baseball is the best sport to go watch in person.
Mm-hmm.
I'll argue that on
For
any
sure.
day.
It's hard to
Like,
beat because you can literally, you're outside, it's warm weather, you can cold beer in your hand. Like, dude, there's so many things that you can't beat about that.
yeah, and like at least in Atlanta, like I don't. The Hawk Stadium is an arena. It's not like Mercedes Benz is an outdoor. So, like
Mhm.
you said, you don't get the fun like vibe of sitting outside
And
watching.
like the thing about the new stadium is like the battery, being outside and
Mhm.
having like so many different places and things to look at and walk around before the game starts, after the game's over. You can go to the PBR. There's just so many different like commodities that come with that. And dude, it is
Like low key, the Braves are a sideshow. Like I know people that will
honestly,
go
yeah,
down like
they
for
go
a
down
Braves
there.
game and
No one
not
other
even
than
go to the
yeah.
stadium.
Yeah, they oh, the Braves playing tonight. I didn't know I was going to PBR anyway. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah,
I mean, the
and
fact
that
they have apartments set up around the area
oh,
too. Like,
I
dude, can
know.
you imagine just sitting on
Last
your
year,
balcony and listening to a Braves game?
I listened to this. Last year, we were hanging out with these people, and they lived walking distance to the stadium, and we would literally go to their place pregame, go to the game, go out, and then just walk right back to their house or right back to their apartment. They're paying like $3,000 a month.
Dude, that's what I'm paying here. Shoot, I they just go down to Atlanta and live it up with the Braves.
Yeah, go live by Turn or go live by Truist.
Yeah. Dude, I hate how they name the stadiums now after sponsors.
Yeah,
Like it's because especially when they change it. Like I still call it SunTrust sometimes, and it's like
right.
oh my bad, somebody else bought out SunTrust, and now it's
Yeah,
Truist.
that's Truist, and then next year it'll be Amicalola, and then the next year it'll be
Mastercard Stadium.
yeah Georgia Power, Georgia Power Stadium,
One of these days,
Cherokee County Water Authority
South
Stadium.
Canton Home Stadium. Come on, Ricky, let's get on it.
Oh
One of these
god,
days.
that is so funny.
But yeah, so that's the MLB preseason. Do you have any awards predictions? Like, who do you
Um,
think is gonna have
like
a
I said,
standout season?
yeah, that Yamamoto guy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
probably butchering his name. I don't know it exactly, but he's a new Japanese guy who was signed
Mm-hmm.
by the Dodgers. Like I was telling you about, man, if he can throw like he did in that video or a couple videos I've seen of him today, he's going to be the Cy Young Award winner for sure. He won't lose more than 5-6 games. I guarantee it this year. He'll have an ERA of I promise you he'll have an ERA in 3.
Well, hey, if he's gonna be that good, we promise we'll get his name figured out.
Yes, yeah, and that's why I feel so bad. Like, God, I butchered his name, and I'm like hyping him up this good. But like, I've seen just a couple videos of him today, and just what I saw just off those
Mhm.
videos alone. Golly, Spencer Strider though he's going to bounce back this year, and he's probably going to go for like over 250 strikeouts guaranteed.
Hey man, I hope. But
Mm-hmm.
whatever the Japanese do as far as developing basketball talent, dude, America needs to get on it.
Yeah.
And
Did
I
you
don't know.
see the kid from Japan? He's 17 or 18, and instead of being the number one draft pick for the Japanese baseball league, he ended up signing and committing to Stanford to play baseball in America to go to the draft. And whenever he gets, I guess, college finished or if he's eligible in a year, he'll go to the draft. But he holds the record for most high school baseball home runs in Japan. It's
Hmm.
an absurd amount.
You think you could have took him?
Dude, no chance. I have to look that up because I
I
can't
mean, like
remember.
over in Japan, that technically, if you're looking at all of baseball, the all-time home run leader is Sadaharu O, who hit like 800 something home runs in Japan. Like, pretty sure Japan they invented like the Euro ball, like a bunch of different trick pitches that haven't made their way over here yet. At least not consistently, but like they
Okay.
do it differently.
Dude, his name is Rentaro Sasaki, and he's 17 years old, and he has 140 home runs as a high school baseball player. 140. But
That's like a decent MLB career.
they play. We played in high school. We played like 20 games, 20 something games.
Hmm.
Like that's just absurd to me. Like in 20 games, He has, I mean, per
Did you
season,
even did
he
you
did.
even bat 147 times in your high school career? Do you think?
No. I don't even know if I batted 100. Like, oh my god. I guess I'd get like 3 or 4 every game. I played about 80 to 100 games, 80, 85, 86 games. I
Mhm.
know I'm probably below 100, yeah. Hey, I batted 290 in high school.
There you go.
Most stolen bases all 4 years on every team I played on.
Hey,
Yeah, I was good for something.
Cherokee County Sports Hall of Fame, circa 2050, Levi Mayo.
I'd like to thank my cousin Garrett.
For letting me know this Hall of Fame even existed in the first place.
Oh man, where's my gold jacket?
So before we wrap this thing up, last thing I want to get into, March Madness is right around the corner. I
Yes,
have absolutely no idea what's going on in college basketball.
I
I just
think
felt like we should at least
I
mention the
think it's
fact that.
going to come down. Watch out for North Carolina. They'll have a little streak. I want to say, man, I really want to say UConn's going to win it all, but I just don't see that happening because they just got beat not too long ago. I don't know. It's going to be tight. It's going to be one of those years where not. I don't think too many people have paid attention, so it's going to be a lot of new students and all like new players coming at us in a
Mhm.
whole different way. But some of them will pop off and they'll put their name out there for sure. I just don't know who and exactly what team yet.
I feel like March Madness, it's like any other college sport at least. Like you've got your usual suspects. You got UNC,
Yeah,
Gonzaga, UConn.
yeah,
Like you can pretty much put 7 names in a bag and pull it out every year, and it's gonna be one of them.
yeah. Every year too. And that's the thing about college basketball is like people want to say, oh, in football the same teams win all the time, or like the same teams win the championship. Well, probably because they're the best ones. They work their tails off. You never hear them complain about much. If they do, it's probably something pretty serious. They just go to work every day, and that's why they're so consistent with their stuff. They just know
Mm-hmm.
how to hire the right coaches. They know how to work out the right way. They know how to hold themselves the right way, carry themselves whole 9 yards. And being
Mm-hmm.
consistent like those big programs is stupid hard to do.
Oh man, absolutely. Especially when you get those coaches who like Coach K at Duke, who were
Yeah,
just there for
exactly.
so long that they set the culture
Yeah.
for like an entire generation of coaches coming up underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy.
Do you remember
But what do you think?
Tony
What do you think
Tony
college
Campbell?
basketball? What's that?
Do you remember Tony Campbell from Reinhardt? He
Oh yeah,
looked
I
like
saw you
the guy
posted
who
that
like
today.
Tony. Dude, yeah,
Yeah.
AAC Women's Coach of the Year, Coach Tony. I haven't talked to him in forever. He probably wouldn't even know me if he saw me, but hey, that was awesome to see, dude. I saw that today and I was like, holy cow, bro, that's crazy.
Hey, Cherokee basketball camp. He was always right there.
Oh yeah,
Coach
oh
Cuomo.
yeah, oh yeah.
One thing I
It was
didn't mention
awesome
on
to
the
see.
Super Bowl, or maybe I did. Dude, Montrell. I did not realize he was on the Chiefs.
Yeah,
And
yeah, dude.
now have
He
Super
got
Bowl
signed
champion.
halfway through the season. He got traded to the Chiefs, and he's been with them for like over half the season. So it was really cool to see that happen.
Dude, like being able to say I was on the same track team as a Super Bowl champ, like that's pretty wild.
Straight up, yeah, yeah. That stuff was really cool to see.
Mm-hmm. But what I was gonna ask you though, what do you think college basketball can do to make people care again? Like, is there anything?
Gosh, it really is. At this point, there's so many different options besides college basketball that it's hard for them to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can go do there's a thing in Atlanta called OTE where it basically gives kids an opportunity to play ball instead of going to college and having to do all that stuff. You can go to the
Mm-hmm.
G League. You can go. There's just so many different routes you can take besides having to actually go to college for ball.
Yeah.
So I just don't know like if they just need one of those players from back in the day to be a coach or something like that. It's like Dion with Colorado. It needs somebody to bring life back into it, and I just don't know what college basketball player stands out to me enough from the past to like make them want to be like that.
Mm-hmm. It takes that. Well, that's the thing because like the best college basketball players are generally not the ones that went on to become great NBA players.
Right.
They wouldn't have the name value of somebody like a Deion
Somebody,
Sanders
yeah,
back. Like I don't know if
right.
Christian Leitner came back to Duke.
Like JJ Redick, for example, if he was to go coach at Duke or something, I think a lot more people would tune in to what's going on. Or
Mm-hmm.
like a
And
Vince Carter
Patrick
coming
Ewing
back.
was just coaching at Georgetown a couple of years back.
Yeah, but they were trash. Like that was just I felt bad for him. At
Maybe
one
now
point,
Allen Iverson can get the gig.
yeah. At one point, there's a video of Patrick Ewing asking one of his centers, who's like 7'11", or 6'11", it's like 7 foot, and yeah, no, right, he's like 12 foot tall. And he was like, "What are you doing shooting a 3-pointer? You are 7 foot tall. Get in the paint and rebound the ball. Quit shooting threes." I was like, "Oh man, he's mad. He's mad."
The game's done passed him by.
Yep, he's too old. He needs to get out and retire.
I was like, did you catch the All-Star game?
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I hated that.
Nothing but threes and layups.
211 to 190 something, wasn't it?
Something like that. Dude, Adam Silver after the game was like, here you go. Here's your MVP. I don't need I'm done.
Yeah.
Adam
When do
Silver's
you, when do you
be
think he'll give it up?
oh, it'll be a long time.
I figured so.
I mean,
Did
unless he gets a
you
promotion.
speaking of real quick on the MLB and all that? Did you see that Rob Manfred is gone in 2029? The commissioner.
Really?
Yeah,
No, I
that
didn't
he
know
is.
that.
Dude, he's like supposedly. If you go in and look at it and dude, just read up on it. He's like ruined the game of baseball. Like it's why the MLB has been in such a decline the last X amount of years because of
Yeah.
Rob Manfred and like some of the stuff that he implanted and or enrolled and stuff. Well, he's done in 2029, and people are saying like, "Thank God Manfred's out. Thank God he's leaving." It's like, dude, you still got what 5 more years with the guy? Like he's not
Yeah.
leaving next year. Like he's
He's
still
still
got
got more time to do some
4
damage.
years to ruin the league even worse. But yeah, if you read up on that, you'd be surprised in all the stuff that he's like implemented, and it's just crazy.
I haven't liked Rob Manfred since I sent him a 10-page letter about why Joe Jackson is innocent, and he never listened to me. He sent me back like a paragraph being like, "Hey man, like I just got into office, let me look at it," and never did anything about it. Still need to free my man Joe Jackson. So
Oh my
in
gosh.
5 years, I have to drop that letter again.
Yeah, but hey, you remember me? That is awesome. That is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, man. Well, good chatting with you. We'll be here
Well,
same
it's
time next
Wednesday.
week. Wednesdays are the new days. And be sure to check us out. We should have probably done this at the start, but check
Yeah.
us out on Instagram. We got 2 TikToks, so we're on TikTok now. So check us out at all the
Make
places.
sure you follow us on everything you can. I'll be sure to appreciate y'all. It's good talking to you, buddy.
Yep, good to see you.
See you, brother.